Legendary football coach Vince Lombardi had a team meeting, and he got the whole team together, and he says, "We're going to break it down to basics today. This is a football." Breaking down the basics of visual storytelling, getting to the DNA in its smallest parts. This is it. And whenever I speak, I say, take a pen out. Because once you hear something, research says you'll forget it, except for 5% of it a week later. But to remember, you start to write it down. So I'm going to ask students today, write this stuff down, because this literally is the DNA. They've found it out. It's sequencing. And sequences are a series of shots when put together form an action. A sequence is a series of wide shots, medium shots, tight shots, and super tight shots. And when I have a camera on my shoulder, I literally have a self-talk loop going through my head. Well, I've got a wide shot, now I need a medium shot. I got a medium shot, now I need a tight shot. And you need the tight shots. Raymond Smith, a great editor out of Boston, said you should have 3 times as many tight shots as wide shots, because tight shots will get you out of a jam. It'll keep the jump cuts. It'll just make them go away. If you have super tight shots, you can cut to anything. And you have to worry about that. But there's literally a self-talk that goes around in your head, and you have to have that. You're not thinking about anything else. You literally focus in on the story. Buck Rogers at IBM said, "I never tell employees to do one thing 1,000% better. I tell employees to do 1,000 things 1% better." And when you ask the question, what do you think about visual storytelling? It depends on what the story is, too, what you're looking for. We're talking about at lunch. You get what you look for. If you focus on something, and that's what you want, that's what you're going to get on that tape, on that P2 card.
A lot of students, I think, either overshoot or undershoot. They're never quite sure how much is enough or how much is too much.
Right. Well, that's so hard to tell. I mean, it depends on the story. But you have to remember, before you walk out of there, there's some basics that you have to have. Remember, Vince Lombardi in the football, there's a basic of beginning, middle, end. You don't leave that shoot till you got it, no matter how much tape you shoot. The longer I shoot, the less tape I shoot, because I find out exactly what is needed, and you don't have to overshoot. A close friend of mine, Mark Anderson, National Photographer of the Year. It's amazing, and this is a tip for students. And write this down and follow it. This is a great tip. I remember I got a field tape of his, of a spot news, and I put it in, and I started to play it. And it was amazing, because the shots were held 5, 6 seconds, and he went from a wide shot to a medium shot. He did sequencing on the raw tape. I said, "Mark, why did you do that?" He says, "John, I do it every story I do, because what happens if I'm out in the field and they have to feed it in and they have to play it?" So his tape was remarkable that way. It wasn't any dead tape. There weren't any pans like that where you couldn't use it on television. There weren't any jump cuts or anything like that. He says that way, in a spot news situation, they could take my tape, put it in, and they could play it. And he's always thinking, he's the one who taught me about self-talk. You know, don't give John Gross credit for any of this stuff. I learned this from Mark Anderson, my hero, who literally pulled me aside and said, "This is how I do it. This is what I do."